is similar to me, he said. But he doesn't. But later on, Calvin talked to him. He was shocked that Calvin accommodates. He said, "Oh, so he's at peace because he don't want to break up with me, and then I will go the worst person again." That's what it was.
Right.
So so now he knew that Calvin was in good hands, but we have to wait for the divorce to be final because my ex-husband was dangerous. He's gonna go after Calvin if I dated Calvin. That's what it was.
Right.
He was a dangerous man. That's why.
Right.
So we had to finalize the divorce. So before I dated you,
Right.
there was a reason why.
Right.
It was due to your safety, Calvin.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Brandon said it's due to your safety because he met the guy is dangerous. Because the cops told me he's a dangerous. The guy I married is a dangerous man.
Yes.
He go in and out of the jail a lot.
Right.
He's a disgrace to the African American race. Oh,
Right.
wow. I rhymed.
Yes.
He is African American, but he probably is an illegal migrant, and I don't know. It could be. He didn't sound like he had an accent, but
Right.
I just never know.
Right.
That's what happened. Because why would he stay in New York City and not be in New Jersey with his stepfather and his mother or something? So there's something not right
Right.
with the picture, but I probably didn't see it back then because of my grandmother. He took advantage of the situation that I was worrying about. I should have not went out with him at that time, but probably, I wasn't thinking right. But in a way, maybe it happened so I can find somebody in the right path. That's what happens. Sometimes things happen for a reason, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe some of the pages are going to be about. It's probably going to be split about you and Brandon split.
Right.
About birthday party because Brandon was part of my life when we're together too.
Right.
About your birthday parties, living experience. I talk about some of these things in the poem.
Right.
I can't tell it now because it's gonna be a spoiler for Saturday, January 18th.
Right.
Oh, do me a favor, Calvin, please.
Yes.
When I do the poem, video me because we're gonna talk about that in the podcast.
Right. Okay.
Because it's about Brandon.
Right.
I need to tell he wanted me to tell the whole world what he did. The good
Right.
stuff.
Right.
He's a good guy.
Yes.
But the problem was the before me, the girl, she's a party animal. She loves to drink and like that. That's
Right.
why he had a curfew.
Right.
But he called me. He said you're a goody two shoes. He told me.
Right.
Or he was saying that it's just that you're always set up with the wrong people. That's why.
Right.
He said, like my ex-husband and like that. But now I'm more stronger because of him too.
Right.
And he got me. He's the one who got me into short stories. If you didn't know,
Who?
Brandon.
That's good.
I was in poetry before I met you. I was in poetry already, but
Right.
not performing in White Plains. But like in a workshop,
Yes.
I went to conferences. He paid for my conferences too. He
Right.
trusted me going away
Right.
for a business trip.
Right.
But my husband at the time, he was not for it.
Okay.
But what can he do? Because I'm no longer in his bed. Because
Right.
the lady had an STD and like that. The lady he was his side chick
Right.
had a disease, but he continued to stay with her. So I don't want to be the third person in the bed.
Right.
It's not comfortable for me.
Right.
Or I don't want to be in a separate bed. I just didn't, I just had to say goodbye basically, and just
Right.
get my mail in the area.
Right.
Yeah, it's a rough story, but I think I should I don't know how to narrow it down, but I'm gonna do the thing that he taught me, and some of the workshops taught me: outline before you write your short story, or outline before you write your poem.
Right.
It was a mix of Brandon and other other workshops in the city. I went to Brooklyn. I went to Queens. I didn't touch Staten Island. That's the only one I didn't touch. I went to the ones in the Bronx too. So
Right.
I went. I took basically some of these places. I took mass transit. Some of these places I drove. There were local conferences too. Before pandemic,
Yes.
I'm thinking about moving. Thinking about looking for those like those virtual ones again, but
Right.
virtually.
Right.
Yeah, doing it in the keeping the what did you say? Keep the legacy of Brandon. You told me.
Keeping the legacy of Mr. Brandon and the late Miss Buena Brown.
And Miss Brown too. She told me. I think Miss Brown, when I was talking to her, during the pandemic, she said I need to go back to when this pandemic is over. Miss Brown said I need to go look for those conferences. I'm pretty sure Calvin will let you go to these conferences. She said
Yes.
maybe Calvin can help you look for these conferences.
Right.
Conferences are great, Miss Brown said. I
Right.
do miss her a lot.
Yes.
Because she believed that I was going to be successful one day when I was unemployed.
Right.
She told me that it was a hard choice, that there was no more living experience in Connecticut. But God wanted me to work in New York.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be Westchester. Pastor Sampson would be understanding if it's New York City, she said.
Right.
Because you can live in Westchester and work in the city.
Right.
So I do now work, by the way, I do work now in the church.
Right.
Besides singing the choir and being a part of Sanctuary Choir, Women's Day Choir, and I'm also now and then they put me in other ministries too. Harvest Ministry, I'll be part of Harvest Ministry this year, 2025. I think
Right.
Torrance put me in there already.
Right.
That's when it starts. I have to talk to her
Right.
because I have to make sure I don't make no plans. No, the conferences of poetry or living experience don't conflict with the Harvest Ministry.
Right. We're gonna attend these conferences too.
Yeah, no, Miss Brown said I need to attend. I need to go back to that.
Yes.
Maybe Calvin will because did you tell
We'll
her
go
about
together.
you love poetry too? Did you tell Miss Brown?
Yes.
She said we should go together
Yes.
to all these conferences.
And stay out too.
Yeah. No, Miss Brown
Yes.
was so happy that we got married and everything. She was so happy.
Yes. Yes.
And Cleve was too.
Yes.
Cleve's like, oh, that's the other person who I miss too. He passed away recently in November, guys.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I remember that he said I belong in this church, and he said that he put me in Harvest Ministry. He's the one who said that you bring a good vibe,
Yes.
a good vibe to the church.
Right.
Because our choir members are more focused when you were in. You're showing example to stay focused. Because before there were fights, I think he was telling me there were fights in the choir or something.
Fights in the choir and
Because there was no diversity or something.
right.
But he said that even the organist told it in front of me. He said that some people in the African American, they get jealous towards each other. They don't stick together, but we need to learn. As he was saying stuff
Yeah.
like that, and
Yes.
to the choir members, that's why there's a problem in the African American community, and he's glad that there's a mixture, and our church is with a mixture because I bring the
Right.
diversity. That's basically what he's saying.
Right.
That it became less dramatic.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
his father. What did your father say that I decided to join the choir? Or your
Excuse me.
father- What did
Sorry.
your father say when he heard that Kathy joined the choir?
Oh, he said that's a beautiful thing. Diversity is important in the choir, and and it's important to. Doesn't matter as long as you have a relationship with the Lord, and doesn't matter skin color. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what denomination that you came from. As long as you love